It's strange how the strongest cages in the world are invisible. No iron bars, no locked doors, just thoughts. Quiet, repetitive, convincing thoughts. Telling you what you can't do, what you shouldn't try, and who you're not capable of becoming. Most people never realize they're imprisoned. They decorate the cage. They normalize it. They call it reality. But every once in a while, someone develops a mind strong enough to bend those bars, and when they do, their entire life changes direction. A strong mind is not about never feeling fear, doubt, or pain. It's about refusing to let those emotions dictate your decisions. The first rule of a strong mind is emotional governance, the ability to feel everything without surrendering control. Life will provoke you. People will misunderstand you. Circumstances will test your patience. But strength begins the moment you stop reacting impulsively and start responding intentionally. When your emotions become advisors instead of commanders, you step into psychological authority over your own life. The second rule is radical responsibility. A strong mind does not outsource blame. It does not point fingers at luck, upbringing, the economy, or other people's opinions. Instead, it asks one dangerous but empowering question. What could I have done better? This mindset is uncomfortable because it removes excuses. But it is also liberating because it restores power. When you own your outcomes, good or bad, you gain the ability to influence your future instead of feeling victimized by it. The third rule is disciplined focus. Weak minds chase distractions. Strong minds chase priorities. In a world engineered to fragment your attention, focus has become a superpower. Notifications, entertainment, endless scrolling, they slowly erode mental stamina. A strong mind trains itself to stay with difficult tasks long after motivation fades. Because it understands something most people ignore, success is rarely about intensity. It's about sustained direction. The fourth rule is discomfort tolerance. Growth has never lived inside comfort zones. A strong mind does not run from difficulty. It leans into it. Whether it's waking early, having hard conversations, learning new skills, or facing rejection, mental strength is built by repeatedly choosing short-term discomfort for long-term expansion. Over time, what once felt painful becomes normal, and what once felt impossible becomes achievable. The fifth rule is thought filtration. Not every thought deserves belief. The human mind generates thousands of thoughts daily, many of them negative, irrational, or fear-driven. A strong mind develops the ability to observe thoughts without automatically accepting them as truth. It questions inner narratives. It challenges limiting beliefs. It replaces destructive mental scripts with constructive ones. This is not denial. It is conscious mental editing. The sixth rule is patience with progress. A strong mind understands the mathematics of mastery. Real change compounds slowly. Skills take time. Results lag behind effort. Weak minds quit when they don't see immediate rewards. Strong minds keep building because they trust the process, even when evidence is invisible. They know that most breakthroughs happen quietly, beneath the surface, before they ever become visible to the world. The seventh rule is controlled exposure. What you consume mentally shapes what you become psychologically. A strong mind is selective about environments, conversations, media, and influences. It does not feed constantly on negativity, gossip, outrage, or comparison. Instead, it curates inputs that reinforce growth, clarity, and possibility. Because it understands that mental diet is just as critical as physical diet. The eighth rule is resilience rehearsal. Strong minds don't just hope to handle adversity. They prepare for it. They visualize setbacks. They pre-decide responses. They build coping mechanisms before crises arrive. So when life does strike, and it always does, they are shaken, but not shattered. Prepared minds bend without breaking because they have practiced psychological recovery long before it was needed. The ninth rule is identity discipline. Actions are temporary, but identity is persistent. A strong mind does not rely solely on goals. It builds self-definitions. Instead of saying, "I want to be confident," it says, "I am becoming someone who handles pressure calmly." This subtle shift transforms behavior, because when actions align with identity, consistency becomes natural rather than forced. The 10th and perhaps most powerful rule is long-range perspective. A strong mind thinks in decades, not days. It does not overreact to temporary failures or inflate temporary wins. It zooms out. It asks, "Will this matter in 5 years?" This perspective neutralizes anxiety, softens ego, and strengthens decision-making. Because distance creates clarity, and clarity fuels strength. When these rules begin working together, something remarkable happens. You stop being easily offended. You stop being easily discouraged. You stop being easily distracted. Your inner world becomes quieter, steadier, more deliberate. And from that mental stability emerges a different kind of confidence. Not loud, not arrogant, but grounded and unshakable. You start noticing how many people live emotionally hijacked, reacting to comments, chasing validation, fearing judgment, and instead of judging them, you understand them. Because you remember what it felt like to live without mental structure. This awareness deepens empathy while reinforcing your commitment to mental discipline. A strong mind also changes how you experience pain. It does not eliminate suffering, but it transforms its meaning. Rejection becomes redirection. Failure becomes feedback. Delay becomes preparation. Hardship becomes training. The same events that weaken one person begin strengthening another, not because circumstances differ, but because interpretation does. Over time, mental strength compounds into life strength. Decisions improve. Relationships stabilize. Productivity increases. Emotional volatility decreases. You waste less time proving yourself and more time building yourself. And perhaps most importantly, fear loses its authority over your choices. Because in the end, a strong mind is not built for comfort. It is built for freedom. Freedom from approval addiction. Freedom from fear paralysis. Freedom from self-doubt narratives. Freedom from reactionary living. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Mental strength is trained, not gifted. No one is born with it fully formed. It is built in ordinary moments, when you choose discipline over distraction, ownership over excuses, patience over impulsiveness. So, if you want to start strengthening your mind today, don't wait for a dramatic turning point. Begin small. Govern one emotional reaction. Take responsibility for one outcome. Focus deeply on one task. Do one uncomfortable thing voluntarily. Question one limiting belief. Because strong minds are not built in revolutions. They are built in repetitions. And if you commit to these repetitions long enough, one day you'll wake up and realize something has changed. Situations that once overwhelmed you now feel manageable. Fears that once controlled you now feel negotiable. Doubts that once silenced you now feel ignorable. That is the quiet power of a strong mind. If this perspective resonated with you, don't just watch it and move on. Apply one rule today, then another tomorrow, because the life you want is waiting on the strength you're willing to build. And the sooner you start training your mind, the sooner you stop living inside invisible cages and start living with intentional, unshakable freedom.